Hello, and welcome to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 2. Have they got titles? I think they have. I've not really clocked them.
Was this Star Spangled?
Wanker?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, but yes, they do have titles because it came up when I think you started fast forwarding the credits at the end.
Oh. I didn't do that until we got the Georgia Peach thing looking jobby though.
Yes, but that's
so you mean so right? Okay, so it came up as part of. I thought you mean that's when it came up as part of the actual made program. It's a really weird place to put the title.
I imagine if you paused at any point, it would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. This makes more sense. And yeah, really loving it still. Really enjoying it. There may be spoilers ahead. Maybe. Spoilers ahead. Well, there might be. It's weird. I don't have loads of plot to talk about. Apart from I really enjoyed it. I liked. And that's my review for this week. Bye.
Great. Bye.
And now you've leaned forward, so you've got no fucking forehead. Look at you. Got to push the laptop further back now. Things might be sliding off your table the other side.
Not
Are
quite,
they?
No, but they probably will soon.
Let's just leave that there then. Oh, we're about to get invaded by a cat.
So things will start falling off the table now.
Yeah. Anyways. So no, I like this a lot. I liked. I thought it was nice that after a very solid start of action adventure drama last week to get everything in place, this week very much leaned into the comedy. I thought there was a lot more humour and a lot more light and shade. Not shade, but light and shade. Actually, there was a fair bit of shade thinking about it. Actually, there really was, but that was all part of the humour.
And the therapy session.
The therapy session was glorious, absolutely glorious. I just think you've got a real sense of the relationship that Bucky and Sam have, and that
it's the finest kind of dysfunctional.
Yeah, the absolute bants that they've clearly got going on between them, even though there is that absolute underlying issue. And I thought it was done really nicely, where basically through some sort of weird ass game of like Mallet's Mallet, they got to Bucky revealing the problem is with Sam handing over the shield is the fact that what if Cap's faith was mistrusting essentially both of them. I thought that's a really nice, interesting angle to go for.
It's also in basically what is essentially one line, gives you a huge insight into Bucky as a character.
Yeah.
In terms of where he is. Because obviously, the movies have done the whole, he went off to Wakanda, and, so they redid his arm, they gave him a bit of therapy, they removed the Hydra brainwashing, and everything's fine again.
No, but what I think it also does is, I think it actually lends into the new Captain America story as well, because what it does is shows you certainly what the core of what made Steve Rogers Captain America is, and it is that sort of unyielding faith and hope and
optimism,
just goodness in him that isn't quite there in John Wyatt, Jason Wyatt,
Walker.
John Walker.
I think
Wyatt might be the actor, yeah. Because although you had that lovely touching scene in the locker room, that actually I just thought was going to go porn, can't lie, when the girlfriend came in. I thought, I've seen this film. I wonder one time if I've seen just like it in Debbie Does Dallas.
And then when his mate came in, it's still the same.
Whole other kind of porn. And I thought it was interesting that they've kind of done the whole... I said to you at the time...
Now we've got the other one.
Here we go. It's almost like the what's part of Captain America having like the black best friend. I was a bit like, it's kind of... They're setting that kind of symmetry up. A bit oddly, I thought. But the fact that he had the whole... Hi!
No, they don't want to see your ass.
No, they don't want to see your bum. They really don't. We've got 16 people that none of them want to see your ass. But if you can just stay there, because it's really going good things with the lighting. That's it. Yes. Oh, you bastard. So,
just lean forward a bit.
There
we go.
Lean into the shadow of the shadow, because he's called Shadow. So I thought what was interesting was they did the whole, and they made him. They gave him that. Obviously, last week wasn't an introduction. They gave him the introduction that was the kind of the America's sweetheart, the wholesome, the sat in the locker room like the quarterbacks. Are they the
Yes.
But then as the episode went on, it was almost like he was enjoying it too much. Particularly that I thought the fight on top of which was an outstanding piece of action on top of the two Arctic lorries. It was almost like it was a game to him. And I stand by this, and I just turned to Paul and went, yeah, he'll be dead by the end of the series. He ain't living through this.
I don't think he will.
Really?
Because I think...
I don't think he's earned the rights to remain Cap.
I don't think it's even that. I think it's basically, and I'm sure probably both Matt and Paul will have opinions on this as well.
Yeah, I didn't get a message off Paul Burns about this. Are you still watching?
Well, if he isn't, then, just saying.
Judging.
But that he's very clearly being set up as US agent.
Yeah.
Which is very, sort of, it's effectively, it's the, because obviously the thing about Captain America is, yes, and again, because of the era he's from, it's, you see in like sort of, the first Avenger that he's very much set up to be this, America is great, gosh darn it, apple pie, and all of the stereotypes that you have with sort of America, and particularly American patriotism and American nationalism. But that obviously, as a character, particularly given how long he actually lives, and the reason why sort of Steve actually wanted to get into the war in the first place, and instead he's essentially just being used as a figurehead, and becomes quite disillusioned with that. And obviously you see that carry through in the MCU movies, fast forward 70 odd years, where he's very much, he's not a soldier. He fights for what is right, and that doesn't necessarily always mean following orders. And that he's very much about the kind of almost a weird like follow the money kind of thing, and be inherently suspicious of power. And also, that's borne out because of his experience with Hydra and all that sort of stuff. What you tend to have with, is it John Walker? I forget the guy's first name. Anyway, with Walker's Captain America, is that he's very much set up as the career military. So he's very much about, they even have a reference in the thing about how you have rules of engagement. You have people effectively you have to answer to. Effectively, all of the stuff that we saw the Avengers kind of as the concept rebel against in Civil War, with like the Sokovia Accords and coming under like government control, and what if we need to respond to an emergency now? We can't wait 3 days for some government bureaucrat to sign off on it. And that's exactly what sort of the current Captain America has, and I think it's kind of setting that up. But I think because of that, I think he is going to be around for a while, because he's the other side of Steve. He's the one that's very much about sort of focused on the American nationalism and the patriotism, and how it's not always a good thing to have someone who is that firmly entrenched in that role model or in that belief. He kind of sits at the moment for me between sort of Captain America from the MCU movies and Homelander from The Boys.
Oh, right, okay.
He's that middle ground between the two.
Yeah, Homelander's a bit extreme.
Well,
all the raping and pillaging that he does on the slide.
But I mean, in terms of his, sort of the official public persona,
right?
And setting aside some of the more psychotic elements of his character that obviously we see behind the scenes, even some of the other stuff is essentially it's that sort of slightly right wing American nationalism taken to its natural extreme.
Yeah.
Which obviously you also see with, again, setting aside some of the other stuff about her character, you see with Stormfront, which is all about America for Americans, and the very Trumpian approach of fuck you, we need to look after ourselves kind of thing. So I think there are going to be some interesting, and I can see him sticking around because of that, because he does set up that very different sort of effectively he's a government sanctioned superhero.
Yeah, and what I found interesting was he starts off very, very clean shaven, and the naughtier he gets and the more he becomes a little bit this kind of, say, cheeky boy that's enjoying it a bit too much, really, for the job. The beardier he gets, which I'm obviously torn, because that means he's turning into a bad boy, but it means he's also turning into a beardy boy, which I like. So, And what?
Nothing. I've just got something in my eye.
I don't believe him, do you?
Honestly, he's fucking paranoid. I've got some. I think it's sleep or something.
Not me. It's the voices. Yes, and so then of course we've got the 8 new super soldiers who are part of the Red Hand Gang.
8 new super soldiers.
Part of the Red Hand Gang. So I've got a cat ass in my face again.
Because as we know, there is at least one more, which again is another brilliant bit of world building and.
Yeah. Now I was trying to remember because the actor who played Isaiah was familiar.
Yes, he has appeared in other things.
But that's what I couldn't work out. I was trying to go, do I know him from some MCU thing, or do I just know him from something else that I've seen him in?
I think the latter.
I'd have to probably look him up and work out what I had seen him in and go, oh, it's because of that. I think that's probably what I have to do. But yeah, so that's interesting. Also interesting that we haven't actually seen Sharon yet. She was name dropped again.
Yes.
In the titles, without an actress's name next to her, which I'm assuming will just drop in once she's actually appeared.
And given she was obviously name checked in episode as well, in terms of look what happened the last time we did that. She was branded enemy of the state, and we went on the lam for 2 years. So and obviously we know from potentially we know, you may not. I know because I've read it that she is obviously coming to this show.
Oh no,
she's one of the main
she's in the trailer. She's in the trailer, so yeah, I knew she was coming. Also, it'd be a bit weird to put her image in the end credits animation.
I didn't even register her image being there.
Oh, did you not?
No.
Not even until I said.
Yeah.
Right.
I just assumed you were making a reference to when she turns up, they will slot
literally
her
his
in.
arsehole. Fuck's sake, Weave. Sorry. Hope you're not offended by a cat's sperm. just gonna keep it covered.
Right, you
edit that nicely. I could edit that out, but everyone knows I'm not going to.
We all know you're not going to.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, I think it was less about the story and more about the characters this week for me.
I think as well, again, it's doing a really good job of doing some more sort of post-blip world building. It talks about the GRC. So you got this sense of what's going on in the world. Sort of.
Are they the Red Hand Gang?
No, they're the Global Relocation Council. They're the ones that are responsible for kind of sorting out all the people that came, because that's one of the key threads, which clearly someone missed. Of the
I might have been eating ice cream at the time,
or staring at beardy Captain America. Is basically obviously the Red Hand Gang are all about the. Actually, in some respects, things weren't so bad during the blip in terms of, the whole world obviously came together because of this global horrific catastrophe. And suddenly now that all of the, half of the population has suddenly blipped back, all of the focus is on them, and it's kind of, kind of basically resetting everything. And, I think they make a comment about, we don't want the same arseholes in power that were in there before the blip. But obviously one thing they talk about is the Global Relocation Council, which is basically the world organisation that's responsible for kind of putting unblipped, deblipped, return from blip people, whatever they're calling them.
I'm going to go returnees.
Yes, basically back where they need to be, and presumably help them readjust to the fact that for them 5 years has gone like that, and suddenly it's a very different world they're back in. So there's a lot of that going on. But one of the things I know, I read an article, I think it was last week, and I think this episode really kind of reinforced that, is they're doing a lot of sort of stuff that obviously the movies don't do, which is like looking at questions of, because obviously, Sam Wilson's character is obviously black. And there was a bit of sort of, emphasis being placed when at the end of the movie, Cap hands his shield to Sam as a black man in America, and what that means in terms of obviously what we know real world is going on in terms of race relations in the States. And this show is not afraid to kind of touch on that. I mean, it's not going to go into like the full details, but there are lots of very, for me, again, as a white man, so I'm probably talking about my ass, but there's some very nice kind of acknowledgements that things are different for Sam because of the colour of his skin compared to someone like Bucky, even though he is like obviously dealing with other issues because of his out of time setup that Steve had. There's that glorious bit with the police.
Yeah, but I think they're doing it in some really clever way, because there was also the bit with the kid,
Yes.
which I thought was just brilliant and so well done, but also basically shuts up a corner of fandom, because during, I think, the 70s, Falcon was referred to as Black Falcon because the character Sam was black in the comics at that time. And there are people saying, well, no, he should be Black Falcon. And they've kind of, obviously Marvel have gone, no, because we don't need to do that anymore. It's ridiculous.
Because it's not the fucking 70s anymore.
Yeah. So the fact that he had that whole kind of interaction with the kid of also a black kid, which was even better, that's doing the whole, oh, I'm Black Falcon because I'm black. And no, I'm just the Falcon. And then you had the kid's mate like laughing at him and stuff. I thought it's just a really nice way to take like the what are they called? What are Marvel Ming Mongs called?
I don't know, because I'm not one.
Marv Mongs. Call them Marv Mongs. Take the Marv Mongs and just
I didn't know there was such a thing as Ming Mongs until...
You'd never heard of Ming Mongs?
No.
But Clive, you lived with a massive Ming Mong.
Yes, but I don't think he was aware of the term.
Russell T Davies coined it off of the back of the Victoria Wood sketch that lampoons Doctor Who, because Celia Imrie, as the companion, says, "But Doctor, what about the Ming Mongs?" Just as it was Victoria Wood sending up Doctor Who, and Russell took it and just applied it to that corner of fandom.
Corner?
It's a big corner. It's a very large corner.
It's possibly an entire side when it comes to the Doctor Who fandom.
Yes, but anyway, but that's...
And we're talking about Doctor Who again on a...
It's everywhere. But yeah, so that's just how that's how that sort of stuck.
Right.
And then it made its way into forums, and then sort of fans who are a little bit more hardcore fans, again, probably more like sort of Clive or what have you.
Or you.
I'm not as, I mean, yeah, me, but I'm not as knowledgeable as a lot of my Doctor Who friends. They will tell you credits, and they will tell you what coat Tom wore in season whatever. I can't do shit like that. I just don't have that level of detail in my head. I just don't. Once upon a time, I could have done it with Star Trek, but I can't anymore.
And for that, I am eternally grateful.
Well, there we are. So that's a thing.
Not that it would particularly bother me. I just would just switch off.
But yes, there is a certain level of hardcore fan who
obsessiveness
who has adopted the phrase. But then there are the ones that it was originally aimed at unkindly, who are the mostly people who say things like "not my doctor" to Jodie because it's a woman. Fucking idiots, basically. So there you go. So yeah, a little aside there about Doctor Who fans and how they all behave. But yeah, so that to me was Marvel's way of just taking that corner of Marvel fans who get a bit worst episode ever about shit. That's exactly his comic book guy from The Simpsons.
There you go.
He's a Ming Mong. And
about everything,
about absolutely fucking everything. It's just a way of getting to them and just going, shut up. That famous thing of Batman cuffing Robin, that meme. You don't know that one? It's like an old proper. God, we're going to talk about Batman now. So it's a proper old school, probably 60s Batman comic strip. And it's basically Batman backhanding Robin across the face, but you just insert whatever comment you need to make it. Anyway, so that was Marvel doing that DC meme to its own fans. Wow, that got kind of... so yeah, I haven't got loads more to say about it, because it was I just enjoyed it, and again, it didn't feel its runtime at all.
Because that's funny. Because that's one of the things I was going to comment on, because we actually sort of talked about this after the end, because it was, again, the credits rolling, and it was
we both were like, what?
That did not feel like another. Okay, granted, 45 minutes because of the 5-minute credits, but that did not feel like a 50-minute.
Or is it 40 minutes because of the 5 minutes credits and the 5 minutes of languages?
Yeah. But again, didn't feel just like filler.
No.
Which I also thought was quite interesting, because again, comparing it to WandaVision, which obviously did a very different format
and style.
Yes, I mean obviously the style, but just the fact that WandaVision specifically went for more shorter episodes. But again, the amount that it felt like they managed to cram into those 25 to 30 minutes by the time obviously the credits roll. and this is kind of like the flip of that, where yes, you've got more time, but again, it still seems to just go like that. And for me, that's basically, and again, we had a kind of quick conversation about this, that it's absolutely a testament, I think, to the skill and the focus, not just obviously of the actors in front of the camera, because obviously you've got all of the top talent from the MCU coming in to reprise their characters, but you're also bringing in other people like who played Agatha Harkness, Catherine Hahn. You've got these really sort of well-established actors coming in as well, but just the level of skill with the script writers, the production team, the editing, the directing, it's just flawless for me. Absolutely love it.
Flawless.
Yeah, I'm never doing that again.
No.